know you're used to seeing me like this, or like this, or even like this. Ha 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 ha. I'm making a joke with you. And everybody seems to be pretty okay with that. But for some reason, when you see me looking like this, giving an opinion that you don't like, a lot of you seem to be really upset. And you think the appropriate response to the fact that I give an opinion you don't like is to hurl racism and death threats at me. But luckily for me, my mama didn't raise a weak ox. And I will never in a million years ever be bullied. So try again. Because you are used to women who look like me being the supporting character in your story. And how dare I have an opinion that does not center whiteness, does not center your white identity, and does not center your white feelings. You are used to the black girl being the supporting character. You're used to the black girl being the girl that he dates before he decides that his soulmate is the white girl. You're used to the black girls being in the background and being extra, smiling, and being there to be your support, being there to make you feel better about yourself. So how dare a black girl step away from that and live in a world and have an opinion that does not center you? But luckily for me, my mama raised the main character. I am nobody's best supporting actress. I'm no one's extra. I come second billing to no one. And I am entitled to have opinions and experiences that do not center whiteness and do not center your white feelings. And I am not going to apologize for it. And while I'm built tough and I literally thrive out of spite, this video is for all the black girls out there who have been told that they are only worthy of protection if they are perfect. That if they fall out of line in any kind of way, they will be villainized, especially as they watch their other peers get compassion and grace and second and third and fourth and fifth chances in ways in which they've never, ever experienced ever and probably never will. This is for you. And moving forward, I will continue to give my unfiltered opinions, and I will say them loudly and I will say them proudly with my whole chest, because I will not be bullied, okay? And if you have a problem with a black woman speaking her mind and giving her opinions, and you think that she is deserving of harm because you disagree with her, I just want to let you know that you can kiss my black ass. Anyways, I have a great show for you guys today. I'm so excited. We're going to talk about tortured artists and what it means to be a modern day tortured artist. Okay, so give me 1 second. Let me go put some clothes on and we will be right back. Okay, are we cut? Is that cut? Okay. Oh my God, thank God. Can you turn the microphone off? Let's find me some clothes, because this is a lot. Like, and then the lights highlighting every area is crazy. Like, let's get me a robe or something. I need to go. I wanted to have like a little pre-show meeting, because I don't know, I just feel like things were like weird last episode. Like, when I rewatched it afterward, some of the editing on last episode was super weird. Like, I feel like I kind of don't look that great. Oh my God, Alessia, you're here. Finally, amazing. You look so, I mean, I love. Can you turn around for me, please? I come off kind of like a villain, and for whatever reason is you seem really sympathetic. Yeah, that's not my favorite thing, and it's like, feel like, let's not be funny with the editing. Let's make sure that the editing is reflecting the truth. You know what I'm saying? I know that I should be there when we edit it, but I can't because I'm super busy. And I just like, I'm leaving that, Alessia, I'm leaving that responsibility to you. Like, I give you so little responsibilities, and it's like a moment for you to prove yourself. And like doing funny stuff with the editing so that I look bad. You don't have the looks, and you most certainly don't have the brains. What do you have? A fast metabolism or something? It's weird, and I think you should just be like more aware of that. But I can't be bothered to be the days that we edit. I can't be bothered to show up. Like, I live a really busy life, and I think that you're not considerate of that. Like, you don't understand how many yogurts I have to eat a day. Like, I have a protein goal and I have to eat so many yogurts a day. And like, you think that I have time to stop for editing? I just don't. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have yogurts to eat, Alessia. So I just would love for you to like not make me look bad this week. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't edit it weird so I look like a monster and you look like the good guy. I'll tell the jokes around here, okay? Like, I'll be the funny one. Don't be funny with the editing. Thanks. Wait, so you think I'd be hot bald? Would you be friends with me if I was bald? Be honest. You would? You would be friends with me if I was bald? That's so sweet of you. Oh my God, that's amazing. Would I be friends with you if you were bald? Alessia, I'm not friends with you now. Please be serious for 1 second. You got a full head of hair now. Well, barely a full head of hair now, and I'm not friends with you. What makes you think I'd be friends with you if you're bald? Be serious for 1 second. excited to be here with you guys today. Welcome back to another episode of The Haley Show. Woo! Today we are going to start by making a drink, and I thought it would be so cute if we made a drink that kind of matches my outfit. How cute would that be, right? I feel like it would be very can't, like the young kids say. I think that's what the expression is. My assistant Alessia taught me that, and it's like the kids say that when something is like super cute. They're like, oh, it's so can't. I think it's like it means like I can't. Like I love it so much I can't. I can't even deal. You know, like so it's like it's so can't. I think it's pretty cute. Like, no, you can't. Except for yes, we can, like Obama. Was that Obama's slogan? Anyone know? I don't remember. I didn't vote that year. You know, the thing about it is like you always think you're going to get another opportunity to vote for a black guy, and it turns out like you actually only have one chance at it. Like America was only going to give you the opportunity to do that once. Well, yes, Leisha, technically twice. Technically twice. And I missed it both times, okay? Please, spare me. But let's just get right back into it because after the week I had, baby, I need me a drink because it turns out being a can't all week long is exhausting, okay? So I have some rum today. I know, weird choice for me. I put it in the freezer so it's nice and cold. So I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, God. Oh, oh God. Okay, got it. Just edit that part out, okay? Just edit. Okay. So I'm going to start with 2 shots of rum. Let's see. Oh. Oh my God, it smells so good. Do you think that says something about me that I'm like so excited about the way that smells? Don't judge me. Then I have some lemonade here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and you can always make your own lemonade at home. The recipe for lemonade, if you don't know the recipe for lemonade, get out of the kitchen right now. Like if you can't figure out on your own what the recipe for lemonade is, don't touch anything else. Don't make no drink. Don't make no coffee. Don't make no water. Don't boil no pasta. Don't do nothing else. Okay? So I'm just going to use the store-bought lemonade. I'm going to give it the same amount of, same 4 ounces that I gave it of rum. Mind you, the lemonade by itself smells delicious. Then I also have this blue, I want to say you pronounce this Caraco, I think. I bought a little shot because I don't really use it that often. When you're making it for your friends at home, don't put your mouth on it because that's gross. But me, I don't have any friends, so we're good. I can put my mouth on it. And I think I'm going to do 3/4 of whatever this is. So if this is 2 ounces, with 3/4 of this filled. Feels like a good place to be at for me. It's like a half of a nip bottle. I don't know, the measurements doesn't seem right. And see how it smells. Still smells pretty strong. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more lemonade. Just to another 3/4 of that lemonade as well. Okay, I think that'll be it. Then I'm gonna add some ice. I'm gonna try my hardest not to spill it on myself. Oh. All right, moving over here so I don't get it on my outfit because this blue will stain. I added all of my ice, I guess. All of my ice. And then we're gonna give her a good shake. Okay. She smells really good. She's very blue. I'm so excited about this. Watch this. Look at my glass. Isn't this so cute? And I know some of you, one of you at home in the audience is going to be like, oh my God, what restaurant did you see that from? Whoa, little daddy, you moving too fast. You move a little bit too much precision. You putting 2 and 2 together a little bit too fast for my liking. Let's slow down. Slow down, okay? Very cute. And then our little blue drink. We're going to fill her up just about like right there. Okay, and the line says she isn't so cute. And now we're going to make her even cuter because I have some Maraschino cherries. And I am going to, okay, so this is how you do this. Take a spoon and you hold it against the edge and you pour it onto the spoon and it'll go right to the bottom for you. Hopefully you don't do like I do and you don't make a mess. Like I'm making a mess. Pretend like you don't see that. Pretend like you don't see that. But look at how cute that is. Tell me that, lie and say that's not so cute. And now we're going to take our little toothpicks here. My little toothpicks are like forks, which is freaking cute. Freaking cute. And I have a little lime wedge here. A lemon wedge here. And I'm going to poke that little hole in it. And I'm also going to poke a little hole and grab a cherry cherry, and our little lemon. And then boom. That's all she wrote. Look at how cute that is, right? Oh, it came out so good. I'm so excited. It doesn't particularly match my outfit, but it's very cute, and that's what matters. Cheers. Here's to happy drinking and a lot of yapping. Oh, she's literally so good. It blew me away. Do you guys get it? Give him 1 second, Alicia. I don't think they get it yet. Blew me away. Do you get it? Tough crowd. We'll edit in the laugh track. It's fine. All right, folks, stay tuned. I have a great show for you guys. Okay, we're gonna get ready to go into a yap session. I'll see you up there. This show has been brought to you in part by Miss Thelioma. If you can pronounce it, congrats, you've got it. And if you can spell it, congrats, you only got 2 weeks to live. Is this the best sponsorship that we could get? Are we serious? And I'm just so confused. Are we being sponsored by like a drug company that fixes this? Or are no, we're being sponsored by the actual disease. Okay. All right, I didn't even realize disease had a spokesman and a budget, I guess. Oh, for advertisement. Okay. And there's the purpose that you want more people to get it or to get tested. What's okay? I'm asking too many questions. All right. Mesothelioma, the disease that's a big FU to anyone with a lisp. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Yap Session. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I have to jump right into it. Oh my God, have you guys been seeing Justin Bieber on Instagram, the stuff that he's been posting about? So Justin Bieber has gone back and brought Instagram back to what it was like when it first started, where people would post literally. Do you guys remember, not to age myself, because obviously I'm only like 15, but do you guys remember back on Facebook when you would go out for one night and you would post an entire album about that night and it would be like 50 pictures in a row? Justin Bieber has essentially begun to do that on Instagram, where he is posting the most random things you can think of attached to a song. So it'll be like pictures of like birds, of like his shoes, just like insane stuff. And like I'm talking about like 10 posts a day, like just unheard of things to the etiquette of Instagram. Because if everyone knows that there's a place on earth that is not chill vibes, it's Instagram. Instagram is so stuck up. It's like the Buckingham Palace of social media sites, right? Like you cannot have a chill moment on Instagram. And people are like talking about it, being like, this is just proof that he's kind of losing his mind a little bit and is like not in a good place. And while I do kind of in part agree with that, the parts that I do want to focus more on is imagine how much more fun it would be if artists and like, well, if everyone in general, first of all, went back to treating Instagram like a fun little place to post. And it was like, essentially, like I like to refer to, like, okay, so people in their homes and their decoration, I like to refer to it as like a museum of your life, right? Like every little trinket that you have should be about a place that you traveled or about your favorite show or about your favorite movie, your favorite music, all of that, right? So that when someone walks through your home, they're essentially taking a tour of your life. It's a museum of your life, right? So imagine if Instagram, we took that same concept and applied it to Instagram, where you are posting not for like aesthetics, but posting for like, okay, this is what I was looking at today, and this is what I like, this is what I was eating, this is the kind of mood, this is a song that reminds me of this photograph and things of that sort. And you use your Instagram like your own personal art exhibit.
That sounds weird, but I want to remind you guys that Frida Kahlo spent most of her life painting herself, and all those paintings became art exhibits. So what's the real difference between that and the selfies that we take every day?
Because that's what it feels like he was doing, right? Which then led me to my next and more main point, is that if we have created this idea that celebrities in their personal lives, because of social media and because of how being a celebrity in this day and age requires so much more of you personally versus just putting out your work out there, right? Again, that's why they're on social media, to post parts of their life, to make fans feel like they know them personally. So now so much of your personality and like becomes part of the job. Like this week I was discussing Chaperone, and I was talking about Lady Gaga, and I was talking about kind of on stage personas and on stage names as a way to create distinction between the artist and the actual person, because this is a job that kind of requires you to give everything. And if you don't set boundaries, you accidentally end up giving them everything, and parts of your personal life become part of the job. So I talk about this when celebrities are like using their relationships for PR and things of that sort. It's like, hey, now like your relationship and all of your personal life is now tied to the job. It's tied to your career. It's part of the job. It kind of no longer belongs to you. So if we are having this idea and we're taking the concept of every single time a celebrity steps out of their home and they are in public, they are expected to be on. They're expected to take pictures of fans. They're expected to be polite. They're expected to be nice, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how they look, none of that. They're on. Like you step out of your house when you're in public, you are a celebrity. You are now at work. right? You following me? So for applying that concept to like Instagram, and we think of celebrities and their personas and their personhood that they put out in the world, we think of it as a performance, right? And essentially, all everything that they do and every single thing that they put on Instagram should be a kind of performance art, essentially, right? And I think that what we're seeing Justin Bieber exhibit on Instagram is like an extreme version of that. Of like, hey, if I have to show up here and I have to perform for you guys, whether I want to or not, I might as well make it artsy. I might as well make it fun. I might as well make it a reflection of something interesting, something worth starting a conversation about, right? If I post a bird attached to this future song, I want you to be at home analyzing it the way that you would if you were walking through an art gallery, staring at a picture of a bird and trying to understand what the artist meant by this moment. Do you hear what I'm saying? I feel like how cool would it be if all celebrities went back to doing that, understanding that they have this huge platform and they're being watched anyways. So like, why post selfies when you can go on and post like an art gallery? This is like you can put out an art exhibit for us, right? You can put on an art performance for all of us. And I think we've seen little glimpses of that in the past, like with Beyonce's Instagram. I used to love when Beyonce was like really cool and like she's such a nerd. She loves her some Photoshop and some what is you would call it, the graphic whatever the thing. Like she wants to be a graphic designer so badly. Her little edits and stuff like that. And then when Lemonade came out, people were going all the way back in her pictures and seeing that she was dropping hints of lemons in all of her photographs beforehand, and nobody noticed that's what she was doing. That in itself, to me, again, that's performance art. It's she's mixing in selfies, she's mixing in hints for her album, she's mixing in like little tiny pieces of her life, and she's creating a museum and an exhibit for you to go walk through and for you to dissect. And I wish that more celebrities would follow through. And again, do I think Justin Bieber is doing well right now? No, I don't. But I do like this concept, and I hope that when he starts doing better, keeps it up. And I hope that other celebrities feel inspired to treat their Instagram this way. I think the minute that certain celebrities felt the need to kind of create personas to be on stage or even to create like alter egos, I think in that moment it became performance art, right? Like when Beyonce would be on stage, she would be like, "It's not Beyonce, it's Sasha Fierce," right? And essentially, her being Sasha Fierce was performance art, right? I think we could take it even further. And I want to be clear that I'm not excusing anyone's bad behavior based off this, but I would use Kanye West as an example. To me, I've said this before, but Kanye West to me is very much a performance artist, right? Like I think that in Kanye West's mind, he thinks that there is a big difference between Kanye West, the person, and Kanye West, or Ye, as he likes to call himself now, the public figure. And in his mind, all of the bad behavior that Ye, the public figure, commits isn't real. It does not affect and does not change the morals of Kanye West, the person, because in his mind, he is performing. This is a performance that he's putting on. I think that that's what all of his random rants on Twitter are about. Like every single time that he's out in public and he pulls one of his antics, I think all of it is like that, is that he sees himself on stage and the world is a stage and the world expects him to perform, and that's what he's doing. I mean, no way excuses any of his behavior at all, but I do think that that's what his mind is that he's an artist and people are there to watch him perform, and his life is a performance for the world, right? And I think he sees that very separately from like Kanye West, the person, Kanye West, the son, Kanye West, the father. I think he sees that those as all different identities and like a different side of him that I think that he thinks by acting outlandish in public, he's able to keep that part of him even more private and keep it even more for himself. Like that's what I've been noticing for for the more recent years coming from him. And I just think that's like a sentiment that's being echoed. I think also another important thing that we can talk about when we're talking about how the way that we experience artists, I think because of capitalism, we're not used to looking at musicians or looking at actors and thinking of them as artists, right? Like we see that as percentages, we don't see it like that. But like again, like I say all the time, like music, film, television, those are all art forms, and the people who work in it and who perform it are artists, regardless of whether we think so or not. And something about the way that we talk about and discuss their mental health, something we discuss their antics in general, is so interesting to me, and it makes me wonder how different it would be if it was 100 years ago and people were behaving this exact way, if we would be able to see it from a more sympathetic lens, right? And I think that the reason why we don't view them as artists is because we are seeing it through the lens of capitalism. And to us, they're just greedy people trying to make money, trying to make a quick buck, trying to exploit any little ounce of talent that they have for money. And we don't really see it as like this kind of artistic yearning to do something. So I feel like if I was going to compare it to somebody, I always think about like Vincent Van Gogh, who we all know was a phenomenal painter, but also spent his entire life struggling with mental health, right? So much to the point where he cut off his own ear. And like I'm just like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, is that incident, right? is our generation's equivalent of that Britney Spears shaving her head off in like 2006 or 2007, whatever year that was, right? I'm like, is that the equivalent of that? Because I remember the shock and the awe and the way people lost their minds, and it was so evident that Britney Spears needed help, that she was out of control because she shaved her head. But like when you think about it, the parallels between that and like Vincent Van Gogh cutting off his ear, I'm just like, she's an artist. You know, like she's an artist having a breakdown in a way that she unfortunately was not being shown compassion for it. But I'm just like, it seems like artists have been these people who have expressed themselves in this kind of insane way since the beginning of time. But the way that from the lenses that we view them in changes because of the way that times change. And arguably, I would argue because our accessibility to artists is different now, and like they're so accessible to us through the internet, through Instagram, through TikTok, through all of these different apps and stuff, is that it doesn't create this kind of doesn't put them on a pedestal the way that it used to before. And because it forces us to see them as human, I think because of that, we lack compassion for them in a way that we wouldn't have for artists in the past. Or even as a whole, the way that we view addiction and like someone succumbing to their addiction and losing their life to their addiction, I think there's a big difference in the way that we speak about someone like Heath Ledger, or we speak about someone like Marilyn Monroe with this reverence and this respect for them, and the sadness of them having been gone too soon in the miss, and other contributions to art, versus the way we talk about it when it comes to someone like Whitney Houston or Amy Winehouse, right? Where I think that there's like a little bit of a tone. I think people who are huge fans of them have a lot of respect for them and are sad about it. But I do feel like as a society as a whole, people are more comfortable making jokes about it when it comes to that. And I am curious to see, like, I actually don't have the answer to this. I am just curious to see, like, what is the big difference? Like, how come you hold these people to like such a high regard, and it's so sad that they were tortured artists and that they lived their lives so sad and so confused, and because of that we lost them so early, versus feeling comfortable enough to make jokes at the expense of these two other people? Like, what is the difference? Even in one of my favorite stories ever is about, I got really obsessed with her for a while. It's about Zelda Fitzgerald, and Zelda Fitzgerald was the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald, and she was a ballerina, and then she was also a writer. None of her books got published. I don't think any of her books got published during her time, but she was schizophrenic during a time where that wasn't really diagnosed. People didn't have any medicine for it, and she spent most of her adult life in and out of mental hospitals. And she was also a writer, a phenomenal writer, and historians believe that a lot of her writing was either taken and her husband plagiarized it and called it his own, or he was directly inspired by her, right? So her husband goes on and is remembered in history as one of the best writers of all time, but historians believe that so much of his inspiration and so much of his work is directly inspired by her diary entries and by her own writing, and that she might actually be the genius behind all of his work, right? And she died in institutionalized in a hospital because she was out of her mind. And I remember I got really obsessed with her, and I like read so many books about her. It's so interesting. But I just feel like I keep seeing another pattern, and I'm just like, I can't help but notice how many people who are mentally unstable, mentally unwell, are kind of like tortured, for so to say, have problems with addiction, lean towards art, and our writers, our actors, our painters are all in the creative on the left side of the brain, right? Versus, is it left or right? I don't remember which is which. I'll add it in the edit, tell you which is which. Lean towards artistic versus how few people who deal with those kind of issues. I mean, maybe they do and they just don't become famous. I guess that is true, is that artists will become more famous. That's what we know about them. But how few of them become like scientists and doctors and things of that sort. And it makes me wonder, you have to take one step and be like, okay, so this is chicken or the egg. Which one came first, right? Do people who happen to deal and see the world differently and deal with mental health issues and deal with kind of being a little bit out there and have a lean towards addiction happen to just gravitate towards the arts, or does the arts create make people that way, right? Like, do people start off kind of completely normal and then lean into the art and lean into creativity and then suddenly become that way, right? It's this question of me as I don't pretend to call myself an artist, but someone who leans into the creative, into creativity, and makes me wonder, like, is that the price that you pay for making something phenomenal, for making something that outlive you? Is the price that you pay for that your mental health, your sanity? And is it possible to create something, an art, something meaningful in art, something that will outlive you without losing your mind? Or is that the price, is that the price of entry into this game? But then if the question becomes, is sanity the price that we pay for art, for great art, right? Then I'll get obnoxious really quickly and I'm start going to artists like, you know what? You have never made a movie or an album good enough for you to behave like this. You need to take that medicine. Take that medicine, because your work, it does not equal up to this behavior at all. It's so interesting how this generation specifically, we just don't have compassion and understanding for artists that way, and we don't think of tortured artists the way that we used to. We just think of people as entitled and rude and bratty and snobby. But I would argue that I can make an argument that Britney Spears, Justin Bieber, uh, unfortunately Kanye West too, are all kind of in their own way tortured artists, and we maybe don't see it as that. We're not looking at it from the lens of compassion right now, but we might feel differently about it later in life, like once they're no longer here with us. I think that when future generations study their music and study them, they'll see them in that light, and they'll see them from a lens of more compassion, of being like, oh my God, it's so sad that they had to go through all this stuff. It's so sad. These were all the demons that they were fighting when they were here. And it's amazing the work that they were able to contribute to this world, even though they were going through all this other stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? The way that, again, the way that we view old painters and things like that, from this lens of so much compassion and so much understanding, and understanding that, like, that mental health essentially gets, for certain people, can be a burden, and us being able to look back on it with such kindness and empathy, of being like, oh, it seems like it's so sad this person had to deal with all this burden, but in the same breath was able to create something so beautiful and give us so much meaningful art that to this day we can enjoy. Miley Cyrus is also my favorite example of this. I talk about Miley Cyrus in her Bangers era a lot. And I remember being a full grown adult and watching Miley Cyrus in her Bangers era and being like disgusted and being like, oh my God, she's out of her mind. I can't believe people are allowing her to do this, right? And then I remember like really taking a look and like listening to that album hard and understanding that she was, especially after the album, everything that went down with her husband and her divorce and things of that sort, and when she was able to come back to it and be able to talk about how that era was essentially her it was performance art, right? It was, she was sad and she was miserable and she was crying out for help, and she didn't know how else to ask for help, so instead she acted out. And the album Bangers itself is a reflection of that, right? An album that is supposed to be a feel good party album, but has all of these really melancholy and sad and depressing undertones, and is her screaming out for help and hoping that someone will see her acting out in public and someone would offer her the help that she so desperately needed. And instead of offering that help, we all turned our noses up and we're like, ew, why is she acting like that? Ew, somebody needs to get her together. There's no way you guys are allowing her to behave that way. And in a sense, she was living and embodying that album, being like, hey, if I throw a fun beat on it, if I distract you from with it, with this one thing, you won't even notice that there's all this other stuff going on and that someone is sad and depressed. And those things, like, hey, if I get up here and I ride a wrecking ball and I'm naked and I ride a hot dog and I stick my tongue out and do all this stuff, it will never occur to you to ask, oh my God, is she okay? Does she need help? Because you'll be too busy turning your nose up at it and being judgmental. So I guess after all that, it just leads us to the obvious conclusion of asking us as audience members, how much are we willing to put up with in exchange for art? Like how much are we willing to allow artists to get away with if it means that they'll give us great art? And on the other side of it, artists have to ask themselves, how much of this is performance, and where do we draw the line between performance and being an actual real person? All right, that's all I got for you guys this week. Bye. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next episode. Love you. I'm going to get drunk now. Or not consider enough of that, like I feel like you should just be grateful that you were born simple the way that you are, and like you don't have the burden of having to be a baddie, like you come from a long line of simpletons.